Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time of year again. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you had a fantastic holiday with your family and friends. Hope you got everything you wanted, or I guess just what you needed, right? But last year I went and reviewed a Nicolas Cage movie, that I had never seen before that happened to be a Christmas movie. So I figured I should just do it again because apparently there's more to see and there's more to find out about. So last year I did Trapped in Paradise, which was awesome. If you haven't seen it, watch it, right? With Nicolas Cage, Dana Carvey, and John Voight as three brothers getting into some shenanigans on Christmas Eve. It was phenomenal. Great film. Great classic seeming, right? And then this year, I wanted to review The Family Man, 2000's The Family Man. That movie's almost 25 years old, and it still holds up. It's still a fantastic film. But it's with Nicolas Cage and the beautiful Tia Leone. I mean, you probably recognize her from, the original Bad Boys. Early crush for sure. Jurassic Park 3, and she's actually going to be in Death of a Unicorn, the new movie coming up with Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd. Actually looks pretty good. I'll watch it. But it was phenomenal. It's a great Christmas movie. It's a weird, it's like they took pages out of the Ebenezer Scrooge story, and instead of having a ghost of past, present, and future, they just wrapped the ghost into one black man, Don Cheadle. It's awesome. It's phenomenal. But so Nicolas Cage plays his character Jack, and his girlfriend Kate, played by Tia Leone. They're together and they're about to get married, but he's going to go on this internship in London. She doesn't want him to go, and he's like, it's only for a year, but she feels that that's going to be the end of their relationship if he goes, because that's a long time to be away, and it's very far distance. And he says, everything's going to be all right, and he goes ahead to London, and then it fast forwards 20 years, and they did break up. They didn't get married. He's this successful banker. He works at he's the president of this insane banking firm, makes billions of dollars, this company, and has a penthouse suite. He got a Ferrari. He has everything he could have ever dreamed of, but he is alone. And, it's Christmas Eve, and he's making sure that his company is, going to come through on this crazy merging deal that's going to be happening. So he's on top of the world right now, and everyone's trying to deal with family things and Christmas things. And he's just kind of like Scrooge, but not really. He's just more or less about capitalism, right? And so he takes a walk to the liquor store that night, and ends up being robbed at gunpoint by Don Cheadle. No one other than Don Cheadle. This is before he became War Machine, right? So this is when he was still living on the streets of New York, before Cap was Cap, This is the before times for sure. But, he holds this liquor store up, and then, Nicolas Cage's character Jack ends up able to persuade him to not, shoot the clerk. And so Don Cheadle sees this as I forget his character's name, but he sees it as, this guy's done a good deed. Come with me, Jack. I want to speak to you. So when they go outside, Jack is like, you should do anything other than rob people. Maybe you should get a job, work real hard, and you can get things in life that you need. And, Don Cheadle's like, oh, well, what do you need? And he's like, I don't need anything. I have everything I want. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, just let you know you brought this on yourself. And that's when you kind of realize oh shit, this nigga gonna do some crazy shit right now all of a sudden. And it turns out when Nicolas Cage goes home, right, to his suite, and he goes to sleep, and when he wakes up, he ends up in what Don Cheadle explains is a glimpse, right? A glimpse of what could have been and that what is not. And he has to, when he wakes up, he ends up being married to Kate, his ex-girlfriend that he left. He ends up having a daughter and a little boy, a son, who's still a baby, right? He has this dog. He lives in this basic suburban house. He's working for his father-in-law at a tire shop, selling tires retail. So in his eyes, he lost on life. He is living the absolute worst version of his possible life, reality. And Don Cheadle comes to him and he says, hey, you need to figure out what things you're missing, or things you might need to work on in your life. And this is going to help you figure that out. And they don't really explain how long he was in this glimpse, but I'm going to say it lasted a year, right? From Christmas to Christmas. And maybe even just a couple months. But if it's Christmas to Christmas, it kind of would make more sense that they kind of stretched out a year of him living with this fake family, but in this reality where he would actually live with them, but he still retains his memories and everything of what he's done and how he's lived his life. So he's constantly going against the grain of like what he needs to do as the husband and father figure of this family to versus the man and the bachelor that life that he was living just the night before, right? And it's just a phenomenal film. I mean, he slowly comes to terms with his daughter and like starts to love his daughter, starts to love his son. You know, he starts realizing that Kate was like the best thing that had happened to him, and that, you know, he messed up by leaving her, and you know, but then he finds out that he didn't actually not go to London in that reality. He went to London, but he immediately came back like 2 days later because he missed her and he loved her, and he just wanted to, you know, their life to start now, you know. And it's just a beautiful movie. Like, oh my gosh, I was so shocked at how good Nicolas Cage portrays this like father who's not the father. You know, Maury would have a field day with this movie. But it was awesome. The daughter is so beautiful. Like, she's so sweet when she's like, she thinks he's like an alien, you know, she's like, oh, you're not my real father, are you? And like, he kind of like, he's like, no. And she's like, oh, like, you know, they did a good job on you, you know, the aliens from the mothership. And at the end, he's like, you know, I'm going back to the mothership. And it's just, oh, so sad, but it's so sweet. Of course, like I said, Téa Leoni is beautiful. Like, God, she is such a, like, just back, she was definitely one of the fine actresses of the 90s and early 2000s, and I definitely had a crush on her back in the day. I remember watching Bad Boys, like, damn, you know. And she's been in things here and there that have just been like, she just looks great in, even if the movie's good or bad, you know. She plays an awesome wife to possibility, you know. But yeah, it was great. I mean, I genuinely enjoyed it. You know, at the end, he ends up being brought back to his reality, and you know, he then he wants to try to find her to try to actually get that life that he had in that dream, in that glimpse, in those memories that he now has. He wants that life and wants to create that life, and he ends up hunting her down. And you know, it's a matter of, will she say yes or no? He said no in his mind. Well, he had said no the first time, so she has every right to say no this time. So it was phenomenal. It was definitely heartwarming. I mean, oh, I felt it. Like, it was a very awesome movie. And like I said, from 2000s, I'd never seen it. I mean, 25 years, the movie's 25 years old, and it still holds up. It still is a great Christmas-esque film. You know, I mean, if you like dramas or romantic comedies or just Christmas funny films, this is definitely a movie to watch. And if you're a fan of Nicolas Cage, like myself, definitely check it out, just to check out the Cage antics that are in this film. They're all, I mean, it's not as outlandish as others, but it's still pretty damn good. This is the retirement plan, you know, but it's still pretty fantastic. But yeah, so check it out, The Family Man, and also check out Lost in Paradise. They're both fantastic Nicolas Cage Christmas films. I had no idea that they even existed. But this has been Ghost in the Craig. Thank you so much for tuning in. And, you know, happy holidays. Happy New Year. The New Year's right around the corner. Woo! Happy New Year, 2025. Here we come.